Hey, what's going on everyone? Ronnie Landis here, and we're bringing you another addition to the upgraded bulletproof coffee idea. So if you guys saw the last episode I did with the mad scientist Hoy Sauce, he ran you through the whole formula for creating the base, which is something that a lot of people out there on YouTube land are doing right now. It's called the bulletproof coffee. And that's a basic idea of putting MCT oil with grass-fed butter, or in our case would be ghee, and also using microbe or mycotoxin-free coffee. So we're going to do that same idea, except we're adding in, on this edition, we're doing a few new things. We're going to add in more of an herbal component. See, I just want to make something clear. A lot of the people out there on the internet that are doing the coffee idea, doing some of these kind of like what we would call stimulatory things like coffee or chocolate or tea, for example, I don't think that a lot of people really understand the pharmacological mechanism that these things like coffee, that cacao, and certain teas like yerba mate actually work. It's called methylxanthines. This is a class of chemicals that actually stimulate the blood, the capillaries in our blood, that stimulate our cardiovascular system, and actually allow other nutrients to dive into our cells to work. This is the herbal component that we're going to work with. Caffeine, theobromine, theophylline, some of these other chemicals that we don't need to get into. These are the main subtle stimulants that are used herbally, and I want to emphasize that this is combining herbalism with certain facets of nutrition to get maximum effect. So let's jump into it. The first thing that we have is our bulletproof coffee. This is mycotoxin free. Most of the coffee out there gets a bad rap because it's surrounded with mold in the processing that goes on in the industry. And this is actually verified, clean, it's high quality, and actually has a great effect if it works for you. Not everything's for everybody, but if it works for you, this is a really great thing. So I like to pour it in first. I know my friend Hoy likes to do it after, or I don't even know if he has a preference, but that's my... So these are all the ingredients that we're going to be working with in this tonic. And each one of these ingredients is actually specifically chosen to derive the desired effect. So for example, coffee in its own right is a stimulant. So we're going to balance the stimulatory effects of coffee or caffeine with reishi mushroom, with an anti-stimulant. Reishi has the appropriate phytochemistry and all the different amazing things about reishi to balance out the alkaloids in coffee. So we're going to do that. Boom, we're going to throw a reishi mushroom in there. That's Dwanwood reishi mushroom from Rising Star Herbs. The next thing we're going to do is my favorite food in the world, which is cacao. And I honestly think that when you're making a hot tonic, the best way to administer cacao is actually the paste. This is the whole bean pressed into just a paste, just like the traditional Mesoamericans would do right there. You guys can get a good look at that. This is absolutely an amazing thing that we have access to. This has all the oils, all the chemical constituents in its raw form. So we're going to add this to the coffee just like that. Remember, coffee's main alkaloid is caffeine. Cacao's main alkaloid is theobromine. They work in synergy together when you have the appropriate herbs. To balance out the theobromine, we're going to use mucuna. And there's 100 million things I could say about mucuna. It's definitely reached the echelons of my favorite herbs in the world. We're going to throw about a tablespoon of the mucuna in there. You know what, we only have a little bit left, so we're just going to dump the rest in there. And what I want to say real fast about mucuna is that actually it's the #1 source in the world of a chemical called L-dopa. That's the direct precursor for the neurotransmitter dopamine. Dopamine is one of the brain hormones like serotonin. It also helps with our nervous system to regulate nerve function for our adrenal glands. And new research has come out to actually show that L-dopa is one of the key ingredients for increasing human growth hormone in the body. So it's a known longevity tool as well. The next thing we're going to throw in is ho shu wu. Ho shu wu. This is amazing Chinese herb. In the Chinese theory of herbalism, it's actually what would be called a yin-jing herb. So it's very calm, it's very cooling to a certain extent. It's not heating. If we were to use something like cordyceps, that would be a yang-jing herb. The yang would be more masculine, more assertive, aggressive. The yin is more female, more balancing, cooling, and then the jing is kind of like the core essence. It's our adrenal kidney power. So it's something that if you take over and over throughout the days of your life, it'll build up restorative power. The next thing we're going to do is the MCT oil. So the last video, Hoy showed you the strictly 8-carbon isolated brain octane MCT oil. This is the basic 8 and 10 carbon chain MCT oil. And MCT stands for medium chain triglycerides. So if you're familiar with coconut oil is about 60–66% MCT by weight. And that's really what gives it its effect when it comes to increasing ketone production in the brain for brain fuel, using those MCTs for actual energy production that the liver can actually metabolize very effectively, opposed to like heavier forms of fat. So we're going to put about this is a 1 serving, we're going to put half a cap dropper in, just like that. And when you do the MCT oil, you want to start small. You don't, trust me, you don't want to go heavy. Start about a teaspoon to half a capful and you're good. The next thing we're going to do in this ingredient list is maca. And maca is the great Peruvian root vegetable of the Andes, of the Peruvian people. And I absolutely love maca, have for many years. We're going to put about a tablespoon of maca in. And the reason we're throwing our maca in is simply because maca is a hormone balancer. It's very androgenic. It's going to help our androgens increase very subtly, but also it really helps our hypothalamus production and our pituitary gland. So that's going to be really good for pineal production, for just brain production. I have a long day ahead of me of just writing, a lot of cognitive activity, so I want to be on point. The last thing we're going to do is vanilla. Now, all you guys out there on YouTube land, I see what you're doing with these bulletproof coffee videos. You're using vanilla extract. And that's all well and good, but I really encourage you guys to get onto the upgrade, which would be using the natural stuff. Vanilla powder. Once you get into vanilla powder, it's like the aroma, the feel, it's amazing. So I encourage you guys definitely to start playing with the real thing. We're going to use, let's just say a teaspoon. And by the way, at the end of this video, all the ingredients will be measured out and listed for you guys. Alright, that's perfect. Alright, we're ready to rock. So we're going to go 3, 2, 1, blast off. Boom. Whew. I gotta tell you guys, I was never a coffee drinker. I thought the stuff was putrid, just like the worst thing ever, right? And I gotta say, since Hoy put me onto this stuff, yeah, it's just been blowing my world. And the thing is, you don't drink coffee by itself. It's a delivery system. So you put in the herbs, you put in the superfoods, and now you channel it into the body as it needs it. So we're going to pour this in, and I promise you, this is going to taste absolutely amazing. So I'm going to take a taste test right here. Let's get a close-up on that. This is what a tonic coffee alchemy looks like. We're changing the game from tonic alchemy to including tonic coffee alchemy. Because after all, coffee is an herbal delivery system. That's different. That's good. And nothing would make this complete without a little piece of herbal chocolate. See you guys next time.